Hello and welcome to Broken Entertainment. So things are getting pretty crazy in the entertainment world, and this is one of those things where you don't even know where to begin. So there's this legal battle over who owns the actual IP of the Predator franchise, and it started kind of out of the blue, and it's kind of a weird story. So let's go ahead and get into it. So this is Unbounding into Comics from yesterday. Legal battle over rights to Predator franchise suggests upcoming fifth film may go straight to Hulu. The ongoing legal dispute between Disney and brothers Jim and John Thomas over their claim to the Predator franchise rights has turned up some unexpected news, as has been recently suggested by the latter's legal team that the fifth film in the series, tentatively titled Skulls and currently in production, will probably skip theaters altogether and instead go straight to streaming service Hulu for voice or for video on demand. The other reason you might do that is because it has had the wokest of woke marketing I've seen in a long time, and it's like, oh yeah, the Predator movie. It's gonna be about this woman who's a Native American. Back in the back before the arrival of the colonists, and she's really spent her whole life fighting the patriarchy, and part of that is the film is going to be about her fighting against the norms of her society. Like, dude, can she just fight a predator? Can we just? I'm fine with the Native American thing. That's kind of a cool take because it's a different time period, different culture, awesome. But the cultural norms, and she's gonna fight the patriarchy. Can we just? How about we just fight the predator? The predator's cool. That's what everybody likes is the predator. They just, you know how it is. According to Sci-Fi's Predator Movie News Hub, the Thomas' attorney, Mark Toberoff, asserted during the first hearing in the case of the Predator that Predator 5/Skulls is going to be distributed by Hulu. It is possible a potential release to Hulu could be part of a simultaneous release strategy, similar to the model Warner Media and Disney executed with their streaming services, HBO Max and Disney Plus, but as of writing, no such plan has been hinted at or confirmed. The sequel's fate currently remains in the air, is beyond Toberoff's little quote. The jury trial for the case was scheduled to take place in California court in April of next year. However, there is a chance the dispute might be settled before then, as the two sides have until December 16th to conduct a final settlement conference. Fortunately, the presiding judge at the hearing did not issue any injunctions requiring all grievances to be resolved before a new Predator-related media could move forward, and thus, in the meantime, projects such as Predator 5 can continue with their production. The crux of the lawsuit filed last April is the Thomas brothers' belief that their screenplay Hunters served as the basis for the first Predator film starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. Believing their screenplay to have been unfairly ripped off, the brothers are pursuing an entitlement claim for reclamation of the U.S. rights to their screenplay. Now, this is where it gets pretty foggy. I don't know a huge amount of background on this particular situation, but it would not surprise me if they were ripped off, and it wouldn't surprise me if they were not. You have to be, as a creator, you have to be super tight with your control of your ideas and your IP, or this is what's going to happen. We've seen it plenty of times. Seen it with Star Trek stuff being ripped off by Star Trek Discovery. We've seen it with other things. You can go down a whole rabbit hole of stuff that people have created on YouTube or elsewhere, and because they didn't have tight control over their IP, somebody else stole ideas from it in the most illegal way possible, and there you have it. Now, I'd have to see the screenplay of Hunters to be able to say either way. They probably, most plausible scenario to me is that the Predator movie was very, very similar. They pitched it somewhere. Somebody said, "Oh, that's kind of neat," and went from there without actually paying them for their script, and by changing it just enough to get by. That wouldn't surprise me at all. And it's hard for people who write screenplays, especially because it's one thing to say you gotta control your IP if you want a book or something you created on YouTube or what have you. It's another thing to be out there pitching your screenplays all the time. It's very easy for somebody to hear the idea and decide they want to make a version of it without actually taking your thing. It gets very murky. The rights of screenplay writers are not very well maintained. Believing their screenplay to have been unfairly ripped off. We already went over that. Under the U.S. copyright law termination provision, creators are permitted to get back ownership of properties they created after a period of 35 years, so long as the initial job wasn't a work-for-hire situation. While the Thomas brothers believe the rights to the franchise should have already reverted back to them, Disney in 20th Century feels differently. They don't want to give up the rights until 2023, in which the case they will find another reason that they shouldn't have to give up the rights. That's how these companies work. 35 years. Some of these laws, they just really stretch them out, right? The copyright law is one of them, where it's meant to last a certain period of time, and companies like Disney come in and keep getting it extended and extended because they're trying to protect some of the properties that they have. In the case of Disney, it's Mickey Mouse, who should have gone by rights, should have gone to public domain a long, long time ago, but they keep getting these copyright laws extended, and it's all a mess. And it's like 35 years. Most people aren't going to create something until they're in their 30s. Okay, so now you're talking about your 60s, maybe your 70s, depending. It's such a long period of time as to be meaningless. Predator 5 Skulls. I hope that's not the only name. That's not a very good name. It's directed by. That name's like, hey, what's the thing that's in Predator movies? Skulls. There's skulls. Hey, let's name it that. Skulls. It'd be like naming a movie Cars. Oh wait. I guess that worked out for Cars, so whatever. But I still don't think it's very good. Very good title. According to a description provided by Discussing Film, Mid-Thunder's character will be portrayed by a Comanche woman who goes against the gender norms and traditions of her tribe to become a warrior. That's your description. That's your description of a Predator movie right there, ladies and gentlemen. A Comanche who goes against the gender norms and traditions of her tribe to become a warrior. One, in that time period, that shit ain't happening. Two, where's the plot? This is a Predator movie. Where is it? A Comanche fighting a Predator? I'm in. A Comanche woman going against a Predator? Cool. Comanche woman going against the gender norms and traditions of her tribe to become the bestest warrior ever. I'm sure she's better than every man, because that's usually how these things go. Given this description and her existence in this particular franchise, it's likely that her ultimate test will no doubt be involve the hunting and killing of a Ewok predator. Get an editor. Wow. Her ultimate test will no doubt be involve. Anyway, however, the outside of this brief piece of speculation, plot details are scarce, and it's because the only plot detail we have is Comanche woman goes against the gender norms and traditions of her tribe to become a warrior. Come on. It's unclear if the film will even have any connection to 2017's Predator. Probably not. Well, here we are. I think this movie sounds like a piece of crap. I'm sorry. Until you give me some plot details outside of fighting the gender norms and traditions of her tribe in a frickin' Predator movie, it sounds like crap. It's a Predator movie. It doesn't take much. It's not rocket science. Interesting character. Goes up against scary Predator. People die. Skulls get taken. Spines get ripped out. Plasma gets fired. Cloaking is involved. I'm in. This is not hard. This is not a difficult formula. But no, the first details of the plot are a Comanche woman who goes against the gender norms and traditions of her tribe to become a warrior. Do you hear anything Predator in that? Well, it is what it is. I shouldn't be surprised. Nobody should be surprised. It's Hollywood. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I think from writing perspective, as well as just somebody that wants to be entertained, I just want to see good stories. I'm all for a Comanche woman as a main character. I think that's cool. I'm all for setting it back in that time period and taking it out of the modern era for a little while. That's great. I think the problem here, though, is, as we see so often, the story we're getting, the description of the story we're getting isn't a description of a story. I mean, well, in this case, you could make a movie about that, but not a Predator movie about that. It's like, hey, I really want to write a movie about a woman fighting gender norms and traditions, but I couldn't get work anywhere else, so apparently I'm making a Predator movie about that. That's how it comes across to me. Somebody had an agenda, and they went around until they found somebody that would hire them. As far as the IP goes, control your own IP. I said it before, and I'll say it again. If you're a creator, control your own IP, because these companies will not hesitate to take it all away from you. They will not hesitate. They would love to take it away from you. And then all the laws are set up to favor them. You have to wait 35 years. Come on. To even file the complaint. Anyway, let me know what you think of in the comments down below. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing, and I will see you next time.